Okay, so yeah, we're here today to talk about inclusive fitness, adapting fitness routines for anybody specifically following a neurological injury or a diagnosis. I won't read exactly our objectives for the day, but overall, we're just hoping that you leave today feeling confident in helping your person served with adapted routines, carrying out routines, feeling confident after they leave an inpatient program that they can access fitness and community gyms. So the first thing we want to do is just give a shout out to the training organization that we all got our adaptive and inclusive training certificate through. It's called the Adaptive Training Academy. The QR code up on the screen will take you right to their website, and if you have the slides, it'll take you there too. But we all felt like it was extremely beneficial and helpful. We were able to take what we learned from the class and implement things back into our daily routines at On With Life and put in specific groups to help with adaptive and inclusive fitness. So yeah, that's that. And with that, I'm gonna pass it over to Emily.
Okay, so first thing we've got to talk about is cardio, which I know a lot of people hear cardio and they're like hours on the treadmill or whatever it may be. Not what we're talking about here. We're talking about any sort of rhythmic or repetitive movement that gets your heart rate up and stimulates that whole cardiovascular system, right? We're looking for that high intensity stimulation to get your body moving. Research tells us that when we're combining that high intensity movement, if it's challenging enough, we can actually prime the brain for rehabilitation. So we can increase corticospinal excitability, we can decrease intracortical inhibition, and we can increase the circulation of good chemicals in our body that help with neuroplasticity, learning, and cognition. So considering all of those benefits, we also need to think about how on top of that, our folks who have endured a neurological injury of some sort are also at more cardiovascular risk. So we're going to start by talking about people who have had a spinal cord injury, right? Just thinking about what that changes in your body, decreased physical activity, you have lower HDL cholesterol, which you want to be high. They may have an impaired glucose tolerance and an increased proportion of body fat, thinking about muscle atrophy, and again, just the nature of not having as much physical activity during their day. So all of these can lead to cardiovascular disease, which actually is a significant cause of mortality for folks with spinal cord injury. Not something that's often addressed directly in the healthcare system. Lots of reasons for that. There's so much to focus on after spinal cord injury. A lot of times we're thinking about things like bowel and bladder and skin integrity and pressure relief, and there are other really big issues to focus on, so this sometimes gets pushed aside. But as healthcare professionals, right, we have the tools in our back pockets to be able to increase movement and incorporate that into people's day. So we can use things like the spinal cord injury guidelines here, following these prescriptions for movement to help people set and meet goals that can help them live a healthy, active lifestyle. And that QR code up there as well will take you to the physical activity guidelines for adults with spinal cord injury, and they have the full handout online that you can access. The second one we're going to look at is stroke. Not as surprising there that our folks who've had a stroke have a higher risk for heart disease, hypertension, impaired glucose tolerance. But we also, again, know that exercise can help mitigate all of these factors and reduce the risk. This study by Kosher et al. Reviewed 10 separate studies looking at high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, and found that it can increase functional, neuroplastic, and cardiovascular outcomes post-stroke. So they reviewed all these studies, found that there's lots of variability in things like duration, intensity, and frequency that are the most effective, but they combined it all to kind of give us this prescription, again, that you can use in your practice to help people set and achieve goals that will help them live a healthy, active lifestyle.
All right, so now you know and understand kind of why cardio fitness is important after injury. Now, how are you going to program it? How are you going to implement that with your person served or your athletes that you are working with? So first things first, where are you going to train your athletes, train your person served? Do you have a dedicated space for that? We have our fitness lab at On With Life that is kind of dedicated specifically for adapted fitness, but you don't have to have just that space. If you have a portion of your gym or just a separate room or, wherever you have, just thinking about the accessibility of that space. So, how is your equipment spaced out? Is there enough room for a wheelchair to get through? Are all the surfaces in that room conducive to a power or a manual wheelchair? Or are tripping hazards eliminated? Think about where your weights are, your dumbbells. Are they accessible from a seated position? How can you make those more accessible? Also, do you have, if you're more so out in the community and people are coming to you for an adaptive fitness, do you have those accessible bathrooms, accessible locker rooms, a place for individuals to change to get ready to participate in that class? Like I said, doesn't need to take major renovations, just kind of rethinking your space and how you can make it more accessible for all the athletes that you serve. When it comes to actually programming the workout, actually programming what exercises your athletes, your person served are going to be doing, one thing you really want to focus on is something called, maintaining the stimulus. So what does that mean? You want to keep that effort, keep that workload high and going throughout the entire activity, right? You don't want a lot of sitting around, downtime, kind of full recovery during it. You want to keep it going throughout. And how are you going to do that, right? So you're going to have a ton of different types of adapted athletes, with various impairments, various injuries. They're not all going to be the same. Even if you have somebody that has the exact same injury as another person, what they need and what they need to do might be very different. So, the whole workout shouldn't look the same. What's important about the workout is that everybody is giving that high effort and maintaining that effort throughout the entire exercise. When everyone is done with your activity, you want them to be like, wow, that was really hard. You want them to be a little bit mad at you, at their trainer for, making it such a hard workout. Not that they're sitting there like, oh, wow, cool, we all did the exact same exercises the whole time. No, everyone wants to bond over really how difficult that activity was. That's kind of where you get that. Along these same lines, in this context, we are not trying to treat the impairment, which is very strange coming out of this PT's mouth. You might not be focused on incorporating their affected limb or, trying to strengthen, their legs or trying to get them up and do a balance activity. Right now, in the context of cardio fitness and adaptive fitness, the goal is to maintain that stimulus, keep it high, and doing that however they can. If we're taking a lot of time and a lot of effort from somebody else to be helping with that affected side or helping with balance, that can really just decrease the stimulus and kind of bring that effort level, not necessarily down, it's still up, but it's not keeping it at that high volume, and it's not something that they're going to be doing independently. It would require a lot of hands there in a group fitness situation. That's kind of what your individual therapy sessions are for. Your one-on-one personal training sessions can definitely incorporate that, but in the group setting, we really want to focus on maintaining that stimulus, keeping it high, and things that everybody can do independently. All right. Also, when you're kind of programming your workouts, thinking about those transitions. Again, this kind of has to do with all of that downtime. We don't want a lot of downtime. So what are you going to do? How are you going to kind of group your activities, group your exercises so that there's not all of that rest period in between? A couple of things to think about is someone using grip assists or something where they're having to take on and off their hands to help them like grip a dumbbell or grip a bar, maybe grouping all of those activities at the same time together versus like I'm doing one exercise with a dumbbell, going over to the rower, and then I'm gonna come back and I have to put the dumbbell back on. Just thinking about that. Also, kind of where in your space all of your equipment is located. So, you know, do you have it all kind of at a station? Are you having to go from, I'm here, now I have to go to the rower, it's all the way over on the other side of the room? Just thinking about that in terms of transitions. Now, perhaps the biggest thing to kind of think about and remember when you're programming fitness is the relationship between these movement patterns and daily functions. Like, you know, everyone's wondering, like, why am I doing this exercise? Like, what does it mean for my day-to-day? And here, this is my favorite Instagram reel. It highlights exactly why exercises are important on the daily. They're gonna play it? Okay, cool. Maybe. Hope it's not too loud. Thank you. Oh, how do I do that? Go. Next one. Oh, there we go. All right. So, like you saw in that reel, movement patterns equal function, right? So each movement pattern really correlates with different functions that we do every single day. We kind of broke down into this chart the typical movement patterns related to a daily function. Definitely not all-inclusive and like every possible function, but kind of gives you a place to start. So if you think about squatting, like what's that function? You know, getting up, getting out of a chair, raising or lowering your body, getting from one place to another. Hinging, reaching towards the floor, picking things up. Push and press, that's can be important in bed mobility, opening doors, you know, transferring a load away from your body. Pulling, opposite of that, right? So bringing something to your body, important in bed mobility, same thing, opening doors. Locomotion, getting from one place to another, whether that's walking, running, manual wheel mobility, power wheel mobility, how are you getting from point A to point B? And then midline stability is, you know, important in just maintaining your balance, which is essentially important in everything. So now we're going to kind of break down each of those movement patterns and give ideas for two types of adaptive athletes. These are not the only adaptive athletes out there, and like I said before, this is also not all-encompassing lists. This is just to kind of get everybody thinking a little bit about different adaptations for exercises based on these movement patterns. So squat, like we talked about, what is a squat? A sit to stand, transferring your body. So not everyone is going to perform a full sit to stand to transfer, right? We've got a lot of athletes, a lot of person served who do more of a scoot transfer or a slide board transfer. So what might be an adaptation for that, right? Just because they're not using their legs to do a full stand doesn't mean that we shouldn't be strengthening their arms for their transfer technique. So doing something like seated tricep dips or push-ups from the wheelchair can help strengthen that. Adaptations for an athlete with hemiparesis can be adding stability. So if their balance is a little off, holding on to something with one arm, or maybe changing the range of motion. So if a sit to stand from a low wheelchair is tough, maybe putting them up on an elevated box, doing that through a smaller range, but still strengthening that transfer technique. Okay, so the hinging movement pattern, right? To bend over and pick things up. Options for seated athletes can be like a seated deadlift, which if I can make this work, it will do it. How do I do it, Sam? I don't know which button. Okay. Seated deadlift, weighted, unweighted, just working on that hinging motion. And then, oh gosh, broke that. Sorry. Adaptations for hemiparesis, kind of similar concept, adding that stability if you need to, whether it's upper extremity support, sitting on a box, being in more of that like high sitting, more of a perched position, and performing those hinged movements. Okay, push press. So also some functions for that, like we talked about before, opening doors, completing bed mobility, lifting something up to put it away. Some options for seated athletes, right? And both seated and hemiparetic can be both. Adding that stability like we talked about, utilizing grip assist, something to help hold whatever you're using to complete that push press, whether you're getting hands onto a bar or a dumbbell, using that to help hold on. You can also, if you see in the first picture, he's completing a seated wall ball, so taking that ball, pushing it away from his body up overhead. In the second video that we'll hopefully play here, he's adding that stability, so bringing the ball up so he can kind of complete it independently. Let's see, will it go? There it goes. So he's still being able to get the ball away from him and bring it back to him, so it kind of adds in a little bit of a pull too, but that's okay. And then adaptations for someone with hemiparesis, completing it unilaterally, remembering that that's okay, right? So if you're thinking too, they're gonna be really using that strong arm to complete a lot of those functional tasks that we were talking about, so really need to strengthen those movements. Pull is pretty opposite from the pushing and pressing, but for the same kind of concepts, just bringing that load to your body. Same types of adaptations, using the grip assist if needed, or adding that stability, completing it unilaterally for those with hemiparesis. In the first picture, that gentleman is using a band to work on that band pull with a little resistance. And that second one, just doing some unilateral movements on the bike. All right, locomotion. So kind of talked about that, getting from point A to point B, and whether that's manual wheel mobility, power wheel mobility, or some static cardio. We've got a lot of pictures and videos here with some different cardio equipment that we use a lot. In that first one, you can see the Ski Erg, which is also set up in the corner and was at the booth this morning, if anybody was able to see that or try that out. The second video is just a monster rope, big jump rope-like device. The third one is the rower, and that's adapted for a seated athlete. And pictures, again, with the ropes, and then completing the bike from a seated position, so in front of the bike and using just the arm piece of the bike to propel that way. Also, like we were talking about propelling wheelchairs, you can do like a push or a pull, weighted wheeled mobility, whether that's powered or seated, lots of different ways to adapt that. And then similar adaptations for an individual with hemiparesis with the static cardio or the wheeled mobility, also can complete independent walking if that's appropriate. Okay, last one, that midline stability, essentially your core. So thinking about ways to adapt it, kind of similar, we probably do a lot as therapists in other sessions too, but adding or taking away stability. So, can they sit up off their backrests or sit on a bench or a box, stand maybe with that unilateral upper extremity support or maybe no upper extremity support. So add or take away stability as needed for those activities. And kind of like I said, none of this is meant to be an all-encompassing list. It is all just ways to kind of get started thinking about adapting exercises and how they relate to the function in everyday life.
Okay, so we'll talk just really quick about what our programming does look like at On With Life. Like I said, we had kind of started dabbling in this a little bit before we took the certification course, but after we did that, we really felt compelled of like, okay, these are the things we need to implement here. This is what we can do to give our person serve a better inpatient experience and set them up better for these experiences at discharge as well. So our two main groups are what we call a movement group and then our fitness group, or sometimes we do call it cardio group. Movement group happens twice a week. In general, it's for our lower level population. It's more geared toward generalized improving activity tolerance. They focus more on seated activities that they don't, that they can do themselves and don't need a lot of facilitation from another staff member in the group. So that happens twice a week. It's scheduled for 30 minutes. In general, it's usually 20 to 25 minutes of exercise during the group. And then fitness or cardio group meets twice a week as well, but it's geared for higher intensity fitness and exercise, more for a person served that have strong goals for returning to fitness after discharge, because we do incorporate an educational component to the group. So it's scheduled for 60 minutes. Like I said, there's always an educational component around like the first part of the group. The education component consists of talking about like what are the abbreviations you might come across if you find a workout online and it says AMRAP, what does that mean? Like AMRAP, EMOM, DB, KB, like we run through all of those abbreviations so that way if they did find a workout online, they would know what it means and how they could adapt it if needed for themselves. We also talk about the importance of hydration, skin integrity, those kind of things, like other things you need to pay attention to during a workout, after a workout, prior to a workout. And then, so we have, because it meets twice a week, usually we have Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday, the group learns a new exercise routine. In general, there's the three of us that lead it, PT and OT, and then our rec therapists also help lead the group. We take turns leading the group each week, and each week we come up with a new workout for them. We present it to them. At the end of the workout, we ask if there's anything that they think we need to modify. Was it too easy? Was it too hard? What do you want to do differently for Friday? So we talk through that with them. What adaptations do we need to make? What do you want to do? And then on Friday, we really focus on them implementing that workout routine on their own. So you come to the gym, ideally you're getting out your own fitness equipment that you used on Wednesday, working on prepping yourself for any changes that we made in the workout, so coming prepared for those kind of things. So we have the educate, and then it's usually about 20 to 30 minutes of fitness that incorporates usually like a cardio and a combination of cardio and strength. Oh, most importantly, I almost forgot, the most important part is talking about preparing them for discharge. About every 6 weeks, we plan a fitness outing to the community. And we'll talk here in a second about some of the relationships that we've made with community gyms to be able to facilitate that better. But that really is for just so that way their first gym experience isn't when they go home and they've never tried it before, so at least they've gotten their feet wet a little bit with that, and we can help kind of access some barriers, talk through some things that they might want to bring up if they're considering a gym membership or what they want to do for those kind of things. So with that, the virtual and digital options that we explore with our Person Serve, these are some of the resources that we tap into quite a bit. So I've already mentioned the Adaptive Training Academy is the organization that we got our training through. They have resources for Person Served and for healthcare professionals. They do their training virtually and in person. I think there might actually be a course coming to the Des Moines area later this fall, so if you're interested, that you could look into that. One of their trainers is the Instagram up there, Fit to Function. Her name is Jenna. She's actually a speech therapist. She's also a CrossFit trainer. She has her CBIS, but she has a really amazing content online that and also does virtual training sessions for people that want to work one-on-one with her. But we utilize her as a resource too for just ideas to incorporate into our fitness routine. What are some things that she's trying with people? We look into that a lot. Adapt to Perform is a spinal cord injury survivor that has his own fitness platform. He shares some stuff free on his social media platforms. He also has fitness memberships that people can join for more content. We actually tap into a lot of the Peloton adaptive series exercise classes as well. There's several that are for seated athletes, for their instructor had a limb loss, upper extremity limb loss that teaches those, so there's a lot of in there for single arm exercises, and they have had like a seated athlete group class that's in there, so there's a lot of really good resources in there that we like as well. And then of course, actually the picture up there on the slide is our group that day had independently worked on finding a workout they wanted to do on YouTube, and then we played it during group, so then they practiced kind of carrying out that fitness routine on their own as well. And then for community partnerships, we've been working really hard on expanding our partnerships with the community so we can have more of these fitness outings while they're with us at On With Life. We've been really fortunate here in Ankeny with Legacy Fitness. They've been a really great resource for us to allow us to come to their space for our fitness outings. Again, just so people can practice getting in, being around other people, getting up to the gym, what kind of equipment can they use, what can they not, how to advocate for themselves if something isn't quite how it would need to be for their specific needs. And then, of course, we have Abby here from CrossFit 8035, who has an adaptive fitness class, and I'll let her talk about that more, but she's been a great resource too. No, I think you just keep hitting the arrow and it'll go. I'll stand here.
Need a step stool? I can hold it.
Yeah.
That work? All right. Oh, wait, other way. All right. I've been doing CrossFit for 12 years. Started coaching about 10 years ago. Moved back to Des Moines 2016, I believe. And since then, I've been at CrossFit 8035. If anybody follows CrossFit, they have now an adaptive division. So with that, they have a seated with and without hip function. They have lower, upper extremity. They have neuro categories. So if you guys want to check that out, it's pretty amazing. They're within the CrossFit Games, things like that. There's athletes doing muscle-ups in a wheelchair, things of that nature. So in 2023, I feel like there's we need to tap into that type of community. So we partnered with Adaptive Sports of Iowa. They have a lot of athletes that play sports, but they also didn't have the fitness side of it. So I reached out to them. I got, in January 2023, got my adaptive certification, and then we started a class. We started off once a week, Thursdays at 6 p.m., and then they loved it so much that they asked for a second night. So we added a second night on Monday. We made it very affordable for them, $25 a month, and they come twice a week for that. The pictures up here, we did a community event as a fundraiser for Adaptive Sports, and we had all of our community members come in. We brought some wheelchairs. They tried out all the different styles of working out, but within a chair. So it kind of opened their eyes. They see me training these athletes, and they don't know what it's like to do that stuff. So it was pretty cool to get everybody doing movements that they do in CrossFit, but now they had to adapt it for them. This one right here, Brian, over there in the corner, May 2021, is that correct? Was the stroke? All right, May 2021, Brian had a stroke. He has been a patient at On With Life. He came the first night to my adaptive class, and then since then, so he comes to class on Thursday. That's where we focus on his unaffected side, gets his cardio, things like that. And then on Tuesdays, we do a one-on-one session, and then we work on his affected side. So one of the cool drills that we found from Jenna on the Fit to Function will be the second video, I think. Let's see if this is the first. We like to work on his gait and obstacles, just like in real life, things he can step over. And then one of his biggest, he loves to broad jump. So, picture of him broad jumping, and he was lunging over in this other picture or other video that already stopped there. And then this next one, so we place a weight on his unaffected side, so it makes him stand on his affected side longer. So then when you take the weight off, his gait is more normal. Let's see this play. So you can kind of see how he's walking with a bigger stride because he's not worried about being on that affected side as much. And I can't take credit for that. That's Jenna from Fit to Function, but it definitely works. We've also tried it on the affected side as well. It kind of has some same effect, but not as well as putting the weight on the unaffected side with that, I think. And then that's that.
So what we're gonna do next is, we want to try to take everything that we just talked about and actually work with you on adapting a workout. We have 4 persons served with us here today that we're gonna split into 4 groups, kind of quickly adapt their workout, and then all run through it together with them. So this is the workout up here that Abby graciously got for us. So I had pre-written in the adapted time, but we're not gonna worry about time for this session because we're just gonna end up running through it just one time, just for time today. So, but when you get to your group, kind of take your handout that I dropped off at your table, and we have equipment over there. With the equipment that you have, work on adapting this workout for the person served that you have. We'll each be with you at each station so we can kind of let you know what their current function is, needs are, to make sure that what you're doing is workable. So in general, if this half wants to go up there to the left and back there and back there and back there, we'll meet you over there and we'll get started. So, Greg. Abby, you'll be with Brian.
Okay, you guys, we are gonna get started, so we're just setting a timer over here for those 1-minute rounds. We'll put the microphone by it, so hopefully everybody can hear when the 1-minute rounds are up, but we're gonna have you run through in your group a set of this exercise. One round?
Yeah, we're gonna do one round.
We'll go one round through. Ready?
I love a six string with stars out in the campfire glow. Girl, that don't even come close to the way that it feels when you lean in and kiss me. The way that you dance when you get kinda tipsy. I'm wrapped around your finger like this ring I'm wearing. That look in your eye, girl, when you catch me staring. And I don't even know what it is, but now that I found it, I can't imagine me living without this. Back 40 view on our peace and crown, watching you watch the sun going down. That's what my world spins around. Well, I finally get it now, and they say you know. And yeah, girl, you had me from that first hello. And the only thing better is heaven above. But until I get there, I'll never get enough of the way that it feels when you lean in and kiss me. The way that you dance when you get kinda tipsy. I'm wrapped around your finger like this ring I'm wearing. That look in your eye, girl, when you catch me staring. And I don't even know what it is, but now that I found it, I can't imagine me living without this. Back 40 view on our peace and crown, watching you watch the sun going down. That's what my world spins around. What my world spins around. Oh yeah. The way that it feels when you lean in and kiss me. The way that you dance when you get kinda tipsy. And I'm wrapped around your finger like this ring I'm wearing. And that look in your eye, girl, when you catch me staring. And I don't even know what it is, but now that I found it, I can't imagine me living without this. Back 40 view on our peace and crown, watching you watch the sun going down. That's what my world spins around. You're what my world spins around. What my world spins around.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Woo, child, tired of the bullshit. Gone, dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new shit in there. Swimwear, going to the pool shit. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out the door. I do my hair talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? fights, long nights that you've been through. I got a bottle of tequila I've been saving for you.
Thank God. 'Cause he better know my worth. There's so much that I deserve, but I ain't worried now. I'ma let my head down. He been trying it, but not today. So girl, if he don't love you anymore,
Then walk your fine ass out the door. Do your head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Shout out tonight. Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? And we gon' have head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Yeah. Alright. Listen
so girl, if he don't love you anymore,
then walk your fine ass out the door. And do your head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Shout out. Check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? And we gon' make it right. Talk, check my nails.
And time. You can rest, you guys.
Baby, how you feeling?
Mama said, fulfill the prophecy, be something greater. Go make a legacy,
Awesome. Thank you guys for all that. If you want to head back to your tables, you can. All we have left, we just wanted to throw it out there for questions, so you can, wherever's comfortable. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Anybody have any questions? I know a few of you asked in groups, but if there's anything else, we're happy to answer.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I have a loud mouth anyway, and I don't need the microphone.
Would this one be similar to one that you guys do for group, or is that? Yeah.
We try to run through, so we're on that, is this one on? We're on that like 5 to 6 week rotation that we briefly mentioned. So every week we try to make it a different style of workout. So we do like 1 week might be high intensity interval, like every minute on the minute, or a Tabata. 1 week might be AM rap, as many rounds as possible. We could set up something like this. 1 week we're doing sets and reps, and that's just to get folks exposure to those different types of routines. And then when they plan, they do a planning week that I don't think we mentioned, but before they go on the group outing, they have to build their own workout. So they set a goal of like, what am I working on in this particular day? So they're thinking about when they're going home, what is my motivation today? I don't really feel like working out. What is the reason I'm doing this? And we have them pick out, because I want to be able to stand up. I want to be able to transfer from my chair to the toilet by myself. And then they break that down into movements, just like you guys were talking about, and like Bobby broke down. What muscle groups and what functional movements do I need to do that? And then they pick one of these styles of movement to set those exercises to. That was a really long answer to a short question, sorry. Anybody else?
All right, if there are no more questions, can we give this awesome group a big round of applause, please?
All right, you guys, you did it. We are at the conclusion of the 2024 On With Life Neurorehabilitation Conference. So give yourselves a hand too, please. A couple just last minute housekeeping things. Please remember to turn in those yellow surveys at the same table where you registered. There's a box, you can just lay the surveys right in there. Please save the date for next year, April 11th, 2025. We'll be back better than ever, maybe even bigger and better. And then everybody who was here and signs in and out, the CE and certificates will be mailed out within about a month. So look through that via the email that you used for registration. And after a month, if you haven't gotten it, reach out to us, but you should get it before then. So thank you so much. Everybody drive safe and have a great weekend.